Permanent tissue can be of two types, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue can again be of three types, Parenchyma, Collenchyma and Sclerenchyma. Man, so many new terms. Don't worry, you will learn about them soon. To know in details about the simple permanent tissue, spend just 15 minutes and know everything. Stay tuned until the last and I promise you will have a crystal clear knowledge. Hello students, welcome to Poonam's classroom. So from the last video, we know that plant tissue can be divided into two types, the meristematic tissue and the permanent tissue. We also know that meristematic tissue are the dividing tissue. Then what are permanent tissue? Permanent tissue is the tissue which have lost the ability to divide and they take a permanent shape, size and function. They are derived from meristematic tissue. So basically they cannot divide anymore and they have a specific function. As we have seen that meristematic tissue divide and help in growth, but permanent tissue cannot divide and do not help in growth. Basically, meristematic tissues are made up of immature cells which are undifferentiated cells. When they differentiate to a tissue with a particular shape, size and function, then they become permanent tissue. That is, immature cells differentiate to mature cells and become permanent tissue. We have seen what is meant by differentiation in the last video. Can you recall? Differentiation is the process of taking up a permanent shape, size and function. And this differentiation leads to various types of permanent tissue. Now, permanent tissue can again be divided into two types, simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. In this video, we are going to discuss about simple permanent tissue. Can you make any guess why it is called simple? Yes, you are correct. Because the tissue is simple, meaning that it is permanent tissue where the cells are similar in structure and function. Remember the definition of tissue? Tissue is a group of cells that are similar in structure and or work together to achieve a particular function. So in case of simple permanent tissue, they are similar in structure and they do a particular function. Complex tissues will have different kinds of cell. I will talk about complex tissue in the upcoming videos. Now, simple permanent tissue can be of three types, Parenchyma, Collenchyma and Sclerenchyma. Let's learn in details about all of them. We will start with Parenchyma. They are thin-walled cells. They are unspecialized tissue. They are made up of living cells. Cells are oval, spherical or polygonal in shape. They have a central vacuole and a peripheral cytoplasm containing the nucleus. Do you remember? Meristematic tissues do not have vacuoles, but permanent tissue Parenchyma has vacuoles. The cells of Parenchyma are loosely packed with small or large intercellular space. Do you remember what is intercellular space? Write me in the comment. It is the space between cells. Parenchyma is also called filler tissue because it forms the basic packing of the plant body. That is, it fills the part between specialized tissue. It is the most abundant tissue in the plants. The main function of Parenchyma is storage of food. Parenchyma can contain chlorophyll. So, can you guess what this kind of Parenchyma are going to do? Obviously, since there is chlorophyll, they will take part in photosynthesis. This type of Parenchyma which take part in photosynthesis and have chlorophyll are called Sclerenchyma. Don't confuse with Collenchyma, which is another type of simple permanent tissue. Parenchyma containing chlorophyll and taking part in photosynthesis is Sclerenchyma. Sometimes Parenchyma can also contain large air cavities. These air cavities store gases and provide buoyancy to aquatic plants for floating. This kind of Parenchyma which have large air cavities are called Sclerenchyma. So, main function of Parenchyma is storage. When they contain chlorophyll and do photosynthesis, then it is called Sclerenchyma. And when air is present and it helps the aquatic plants to float, then it is called Sclerenchyma. This is the typical structure of Parenchyma. The left one is the longitudinal section and the right one is the transverse section. I will talk what is meant by longitudinal section and transverse section at the end of the video. For now, you can see that it has the chloroplast, a large central vacuole is present, the cytoplasm is at the periphery, the nucleus is in the cytoplasm at the periphery, and intercellular space is also present. Next, we will talk about collenchyma. This is the second type of simple permanent tissue. Have you ever seen the leaf stalk of the plants bend so much during heavy wind, but they do not break, right? Again, certain climbers will have spring-like structure in the front with which it will catch hold of something near it and grow. Have you touched them ever? So soft and flexible, isn't it? These parts, that is the leaf stalk tendril, are made up of collenchyma tissue. So can you guess what is the function of collenchyma? Yes, you are correct. Collenchyma provides flexibility to the plants. So what are the other characteristics of collenchyma? The cells are living cells. Like the parenchyma cells, collenchyma cells are also living. This is the structure of collenchyma. Look near the corners of the cell wall, how much thickened it is. So collenchyma has irregularly thickened cell wall. The cell wall contains hemicellulose, cellulose and pectin material. They also have a large central vacuole and the nucleus and the cytoplasm is at the periphery. They have very little intercellular space. It provides support structure, mechanical strength and flexibility to the petiole, leaf veins and stem of young plants, allowing for easy bending without breakage. Is it clear what is the function of collenchyma and how it looks? Next, we will look at sclerenchyma. Have you seen that the shell of walnut is so hard? It is very difficult to break it, isn't it? It is basically due to sclerenchyma. So basically, sclerenchyma makes the plant tissue hard and stiff. It is also found in the husk of the coconut stem. So let's see the properties of sclerenchyma. They are made up of dead cells. Note that the other two tissues we have studied before are made up of living cells, but sclerenchyma is made up of dead cells. They have very thick cell wall. Sometimes the cell wall is so thick that there is no space inside the cell. The cell wall is made up of lignin. The main function of sclerenchyma is to provide mechanical strength and also protection by forming covering around the seeds and the nuts. This is the structure of sclerenchyma. Again, we see the transverse structure on the left side and the longitudinal structure on the right side. Can you see how thick the cell wall is? And as a result, the inside of the cell is very narrow. So now you know about parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. The obvious question which is going in your mind is what is meant by this transverse section and longitudinal section. Let's say we have a cylinder or a stem. If you cut the stem like this from the top to bottom, then it is called longitudinal section. Remember longitudes on the earth? They run from top to bottom, right? Similarly, longitudinal section is formed when we cut from top to bottom, that is vertically. Now, if we cut the stem like this, then it is called transverse section. So, when we cut it horizontally, then it is called transverse section. See this cucumber. This is cut longitudinally and the other one is cut transversely. Is it clear, my students? So today we have learnt about simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue can be of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma mainly works as filler tissue and helps in storage. Collenchyma gives flexibility and strength to the plant. Sclerenchyma gives strength and protection to the plant. Parenchyma and collenchyma are made of living cells, while sclerenchyma is made up of dead cells. Parenchyma has thin cell wall, collenchyma has unevenly thickened cell wall, and sclerenchyma has very thick cell wall. So this is the basic difference between the three simple permanent tissue. Hope you enjoyed today's learning. So don't forget to hit the like button and do subscribe for more such tutorials. Thank you.